guys, welcome to Overcrest. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jake.
And
I'm Feder.
Feder is here to go through some news. It is Feder's favorite time of the year.
It's the most
time of the year
wonderful
is
time
it?
of the year.
What time of the year is it?
It's best car to buy season.
It is best car to buy season, where Joel has the least amount of time that he has all year long at Motor Authority, yet he is right in this chair at the Overcrest studio. Thanks for coming to hang out with us,
Anything for Overcrest.
Oh, that's
Some exclusions apply.
I like the disclaimer. Before we get into our news episode, we got all kinds of cool topics. I want to take a second to thank our Drivers Club members.
Yes.
And go ahead.
And you can be watching us live now. Our Drivers Club members are watching us, interacting with us. I got yelled at for also being in the chat.
Yeah, you don't need to do that.
I was distracted.
It was creating an audio paradox that just basically was infinity.
Something about watching himself be pretty or something.
Yeah, you got to do that.
It is
Anyways,
totally not necessary.
if you're a Drivers Club member, you can watch us live, interact. It's awesome.
Yeah, you have early releases. These episodes go up on YouTube and they're shared with the guys that can't hang out on the live stream. They're shared early there. You can have access to early drops. You get a discount on the rally. What else do I need to say? You get it's
nothing.
Plus,
what else do you want?
You get to feel good right here. What am I pointing at, Jake?
I mean,
you're supposed to be pointing at your heart, but that's your sternum.
You missed out on
My heart
the love of Chris and Jake. I mean,
Yes,
that's priceless.
yes.
And we love you. Speaking
You do
of,
realize that's your sternum right in the middle.
yeah, but what's under that?
His heart.
Your heart is over here to the left. It's
Slightly.
offset.
I've heard actually it's more towards the center.
It's
That's
more towards
false.
Really?
I heard that's a misnomer.
Yeah, it's
I've
more
heard
towards
it's more
the
to the
center.
center.
Someone who knows.
Yeah, me. I know. It's right towards the center. All right. So, speaking of Drivers Club members, I just wanted to take a second to thank some of the long-term Drivers Club members. These guys,
heavy hitters.
the heavy hitters. They've been, supporting us for 3-4 years. It's awesome. So I want to first thank Connor McCann. I want to give a special shout out to him because he is our first Drivers Club member. Connor,
That's
thank
awesome.
you. Stacy Dodds, appreciate it. Eric Augustine. He's a great supporter of Overcrest. Really love him. Time Slides 09, Brian Math, Kyle Emmerich, Alan Myers, Brad Dragon. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Drogan? Is it Drogan?
Well, it's not Dragon.
You know what? I'm going to say Dragon because dragons are cool. Danielle Maisonet, Samuel LaForest, Dan Gilbert, Scott Evans, my good friend Chad Erickson, Frank Warren, John Dixon, Lee Maxwell, Jerry Horton, Brandon Menge, Brandon J., Brett Whitish, and Matt Schaefer. You guys have all been Drivers Club members for like 3 or 4 years. The
awesome.
support that you've given us in an unwavering fashion is absolutely incredible. I don't think I missed anybody, but if I did, I'm talking to you too. Thank you so very much. All right, Motor Authority. Motor Authority. What is, first, for everybody that doesn't know, what's Motor Authority?
If they don't know, what are they even doing here?
I know. Well, maybe this is their first episode.
Okay, first day. Motor Authority is a luxury performance site. We compete with Motor Trend, Car and Driver, Road and Track, etc. Right? So we're doing the same.
Did you mean to say dominate?
Yeah.
Instead of compete? Did you mean to use
Look,
the
my
word
friends
dominate?
They compete with Motor Authority.
Look. My friends work at all these places. We play nice. It's all good. I mean, we like to think that we do things differently. We like to think that we aim to hit things differently and have a different angle or go about things differently and the way we produce our news. But that's that.
All right. So this is, like we said, this is car of the whatever time.
Best car to buy.
Best car to buy. So what is that? What is best car to buy, and how is it different than just car of the year?
Absolutely. So, I mean, look, everyone's got an award, right? And everyone's awards are somewhat different, right? So, Motor Trend used to have a performance car of the year. Now they've morphed that. Road and Track still does have a performance car of the year. So ours is called...
so someone got rid of performance car of the year.
Motor Trend morphed their performance car of the year.
Okay.
So Motor Trend had a ton of contests. They had a ton of different
They had
contests.
Truck of the Year.
They still have that.
Okay. That was an important one.
But things are
Stick that
morphing in
around.
the industry, and so you have to sort of. And we're going to discuss that a little with Best Car to Buy. Things are morphing in the industry, and so the only constant in life is change, right? And so you have to roll with that. Ours, thankfully, wasn't so focused and hyper focused as that, so we didn't have quite the dilemma. But so ours is an award. It's a little different than everyone else's because everyone else either splits it out or whatever. So because our automotive group, our editorial team, we have 3 sites that span the segments, right? We've got a green car. We don't talk about them on this podcast, but there's a greencarreports.com, which is like Motor Authority, but luxury, or it's green cars. So hybrids, fuel cells, plug-in electric
Isn't that
cars.
just going to be everything at some point? How is that going to be
Yes, but Toyota Corolla hybrids aren't something that would make Motor Authority, right? You see what I'm saying? So it's all about green electrification efficiency, right?
Right.
And so Motor Authority doesn't have to focus on that as much. And then you've got the Car Connection, which is very upper funnel, in market, consumers shopping for cars. So cars.com, Kelly Blue already. So Motor Authority is really focused on performance and luxury cars, right? So we have Ferrari Roma reviews, we have Lightning F-150 reviews, because
the interesting stuff,
the enthusiast stuff, the gear junkie enthusiast stuff, because there's obviously electric car enthusiasts too. But and we do have electric cars in there. We have Lucid Airs and Teslas, like those are fast cars. But the angle is always about performance, luxury. It's not necessarily only about efficiency. Everything is into that, right? Because that's part of electric vehicles now. And it's not like I'm going to drive an F-150 Raptor R and not mention it gets like 12 miles per gallon. But how can you not? You're gas station to gas station. So anyway, our Best Car to Buy award this year is 2023 because we announced in January 4th.
And you kind of teased out. You have 7. It's one of these. It's one of 7.
Well, but every year is different, right? So this year there's 7 finalists, but every year it works out to be a little different.
How many new cars are there every year?
So
on average, what do you think?
New cars?
New cars,
does that include like refreshes? New models?
So to qualify to be a nominee and not a finalist, just a nominee, it needs to be new or significantly updated, refreshed.
Okay,
right? So because like Raptor R last year, we Raptor got disqualified because it was new generation launch, but we knew R was coming because they announced R. So when it was you didn't make the final cut because it's like you just qualified. We know R is coming, right? Same thing for Bronco. We knew the Raptor R. I call it Bronco Raptor is Braptor. I'm not saying both words. That's ridiculous. So we knew Braptor was coming.
Who comes out with I came
up with that. Thank you.
No. The bad one, Bronco Raptor.
Raptor's a brand name. It's like Kleenex.
Why didn't they just call it the Braptor? That would have been cool.
Because Raptor has SEO value and everyone knows what a Raptor is now. Okay. It's marketing. So anyway,
you could have called it B Raptor.
I know. So if certain vehicles get disqualified because flat out we know something else, high performance is coming or whatever, right?
Got it.
So this year there's a laundry list of vehicles that didn't make the cut, and I wrote an article on that the day after saying
I saw that.
The nominees.
How many though? How many is that? Like how many? I'm trying to figure out what we're whittling it down from. Just general estimate.
I didn't
50?
I mean, how many new cars are there every year?
On the Car Connection, there's a ton more because that's all encompassing.
Right.
Whereas Motor Authority is luxury and performance, right?
Yeah, 50 cars, 75 cars. I'm just trying to figure out how.
I mean, it's got to be over 20.
Okay. Yeah. So we got over 20 cars.
That post was like 1,800 words, and each one only got 3 lines.
Right.
4 lines.
Okay.
So we whittle it down, and so basically you start out at August, right? We basically sit down and say, what are the cars that qualify?
Yes, sure.
Right? You just make a list. And right then and there is where the arguing starts. Right then and there.
How many people are doing this with you?
There's 5 of us.
There's 5 of you guys trying to whittle 20, 30 cars down to 7, down to 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. There's a lot of arguing that goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be fun, though.
Can be. There are moments. There are almost moments of like, I'm going to just strangle you.
Is there stuff where like, you haven't even driven that one? Why are you dying on that hill?
Kind of, but not really, because usually someone's like, I haven't driven it. Like, how can you know what I mean?
So everybody's pretty fair.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They're professional.
So what is the criteria for what you guys are using to pick the best one? Like, what are the important things?
Sure.
Because this is the best car to buy. So
it's trying. It's not a dream car. It's the best car to buy.
So price obviously has to be a big factor.
It's price, but this is all from the paradigm of the enthusiast consumer.
Correct.
Right?
100%.
So you're trying to look at it from their perspective,
100%.
Not Joel the journalist perspective.
Right.
Because that's different.
And we've got guys that can't afford Hellcats reading the site, and you got guys that are tech CEOs reading the site. You get the whole gamut, right? So you've got cars like the Maserati MC20.
Yeah.
That was qualified this year. It's $250,000, right? Yeah. We've had R8s and the NSX when it was brand new. That became a finalist that year because it was so like it was a moment that we were all like, price be damned, this is a finalist this year kind of thing, right? We went through a drive-through at Checkers with that car, and we got an apple pie, and I got a photo of it. It's freaking hilarious. It was an unvinned prototype.
Wow.
There was some sketch. So
was there any of that this year where it's like this shouldn't necessarily be in there, but it's such a big deal we have to?
I didn't see anything like that.
No, there was not. There was not. It was not at all.
Okay, so quick, rifle off some criteria. What's important to the consumer that you guys are taking into consideration?
Like Jake said, price. Price plays a factor, right? Obviously, performance plays a factor. Fun, which isn't technically measurable. That's not that's not a paper thing.
Subjective.
Fun plays a factor, and we all drive it. We all know what fun is. We know it's like porn. You know what it is when you feel it. It's fun.
Feel it. I thought it was when you feel it versus see it. I like.
You know it when you feel it.
You know when you feel it.
That's why I write about shit. So fun plays a factor. Obviously, design and look plays a factor, right?
Yep.
If something's just butt ugly and you don't want to look at it, it might be the most fun thing in the world. But we're going to talk about the fact that it's ugly.
Right.
And I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, that's the cars that you tint like 80% tint. So you can't see the outside when you're in it. And you can't see in it from the outside.
So but to date, the conundrum, because we're luxury and performance, to date, the conundrum's always been the argument of how are you weighing luxury and performance against each other, right? Luxury cars aren't fun usually.
A lot of times it ruins the fun.
So,
But it's not its intended purpose.
And that's an argument we've come to. And there's certain cars I can talk about certain past years at this point. It's far enough back that they're not secrets anymore. But I mean, every year we roil with this. Every single year.
Do you have any regrets? Like, we really should.
There's one particular year. 1 year that so it was 3 years ago or something like that, 2018, 2019, without looking, I don't remember. We named the last generation. By the way, it has to be new that year. So like, you know what I mean? So a couple years ago, we named the last generation Type R.
Okay.
The Honda Civic Type R.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, last. And by the way, that was an ugly car.
Yeah.
It was ugly. And we talked about how it was ugly. You have to look at it. But here's and it's childless. But here's the thing. It came down to a campfire and all of us drinking and arguing. And it became 2 against 4.
Okay.
Marty and I, my boss and I, voted. I mean, this is old enough at this point. It doesn't matter. We voted for the LC 500 Lexus.
Okay.
The coupe that was new that year. And everyone else voted Type R. And we lost. And like, that was the hill I was dying on. Like, I was going to die on that hill that night. And we lost. It was outvoted. It was what it was. And I don't think I was the one who wrote the winner post, but it doesn't matter. It is what it is, right? Like, it deserved to win. It got the votes. So
did you talk about that earlier? You're like, I'm not sure if this, or do you guys kind of, once it's voted, you're all in? Like
you're all. It is what it's group. I mean, like, it's
no
like
one
an
has a
election.
veto.
What are you going to say?
Power.
Well, I mean, Marty is the editorial director. If Marty's like, you guys are all idiots. Like, this is the car. Like,
have you guys picked the car? Is it done?
Motor Authority is done.
Okay.
Green Car Courts is done. TCC, we're still hashing.
Okay. Are we able to talk about what Joel's favorite car is without any conflict, do you think?
When does Motor Authority's car, when does
January
it come
4th.
out? The 4th. Okay.
4th.
Right.
I
That's
don't
the
remember
day
if it's
after
6
my
a.m.
birthday.
I don't remember if it's 6 a.m. or 8 a.m., but it's early Eastern.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure that we share it with everybody.
And we got a
of
press
course.
release that'll drop and all that. I mean, look, hang on. There's not a loser on the 7th list. To get to the 7th list,
Yeah.
I mean,
They're all good.
those are great
How did the
cars.
Datsun not make the list?
Which Datsun?
The Z. I'm sorry.
Hang on.
The 400?
Hang on. The Z. There's no 400.
Yeah, wasn't it called the 400 at one point?
You asked, no, it's just the Z. You asked a good question earlier. You asked me, does bias or do you have to put yourself in consumer shoes?
Yes.
That Z isn't the best car to buy. It's not the winner. It didn't even make the final round.
Right. That's what I'm.
Now, I should preface.
Because when you came to my house, you're like, I love this car.
I do love that car.
I love this car.
I do love that car, but that's not the again. It doesn't win. Like I'm not just because I love something doesn't mean it wins. Doesn't mean it's the best car for everyone to buy against all this criteria.
So when you pick the top 7, any one of those could win.
So there's other factors into this, right? So we send out invites to the finalists, right? And you have to accept. You have to say, I'll send you a car. And by the way, not to me. We all went to Atlanta together for a week, and we were going to have a Trek day, and we were all there, and we did different days for different sets of cars for each site and all that stuff.
Yep.
So if you say, I'm not sending you a car, and whatever reason, we don't have the cars in stock, we have logistical issues, somebody crashed it. There are all sorts of reasons. Some are good, some are bad. Unless you find a different way to get enough of us into it that we're all confident in that, because if only one of us has driven it, it doesn't cut the cheddar. There's no way. Then it's disqualified by that. So if you look at that list, there are a bunch of cars on there that literally, like, Rivian can't build enough R1Ss. It would have been a nominee. The Rivian R1T won last year. I don't blame them. They can't build enough cars to deliver enough to cars at this fast enough. They don't have enough in the fleet to give us one at that moment. And it's nothing against us.
They probably don't need the marketing then either.
Probably not, but I mean, awards are great, right? But so there's a bunch of there's a bunch of factors. So for instance, I mean, this isn't a huge secret. The Civic Type R was launching. It's a finalist. It's not on me. It's on the list. It made the cut.
Yep.
Okay.
It's launching the week we did that testing in Atlanta.
Right.
So we didn't go to the launch because all of it, like nothing stops Best Car to Buy testing. We were all together in a week. It's set. We were all booked our tickets. It is what it is, right? So we ended up sending a freelancer to it, and we have a first drive review that went live with the embargo and all that stuff. And so we went to her and said, all right, like how good is it? Like is this like we need to make sure we move mountains? And she's like, it's freaking great. Like it's really good. And here are all the reasons why. And her review.
Here's the thing.
So hang on.
Okay, go.
So Honda moved mountains, and they shit. So I reached out to Honda and said, I'm going to be in LA for 2 weeks for LA Auto Show, other stuff, Best Car to Buy testing, and family vacation for Disneyland and all this other stuff. That launch was in San Francisco. Get me a car down there. Kirk Bell's going to be there for LA Auto Show. Between the two of us, that's at least two of us to get into it.
Yep.
Send a car down there and give it to me for a couple days. And they shipped the car down and we got into it. So automakers work with us to make it work. There was no way they were going to be there for Best Car to Buy testing. They were launching the car that week. It's not possible.
Right. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing.
Yep.
How do you do this when every car is pretty much good?
Not every car is good, and some cars are better than other cars.
But what metric? What are we comparing to? Because
hang on.
The Civic Type R is better than every Porsche ever made in the 70s and 80s as a car.
Sure, but we're not reviewing
I know. I'm saying so.
Porsches.
I understand that, but they're all in some way they're all good, and the differentiation between like modern cars for me from my perspective has become less and less clear.
Because you don't drive.
You're not driving. Dude, I'm driving over
Joel.
100 cars a year. I drove all these cars back to back. I drove a Hyundai Kona N back to back with a Toyota GR Corolla, and then the next week I went and drove a Honda Civic Type R, all within like 7 days of each other. I can tell you the differences between every one of those cars right now.
Okay.
Like it's not hard.
It just
are they similar?
That's probably
sure,
that's why it's great to read this stuff. Is because.
Most
you don't know. You don't know. I don't know.
Most people, you and I, don't have enough experience.
But if you're a consumer, you're probably looking at all three of these cars. You're gonna go test drive them.
Yeah,
Unless you're a Honda fanboy, you're buying the Honda. Unless you're a Toyota fanboy, you're buying the Toyota.
If you're going to do a test drive, there's always like,
it's different than what we're doing.
Yeah,
that's why you read Motor Authority.
For sure, absolutely.
Yes,
that's funny though. I remember going to test drive a Ford Fiesta ST.
Sure.
And had the great the waffle Recaros that were with the hexagons on them. It had everything. And I could not get the guy to let me drive it without the salesman. He would not do it, so I didn't even do it. I'm like, you know what? Then I'm not interested. And I went and bought something else. I don't know what it is. One of 75,000 other cars that I've ever owned. But I couldn't do it. Just for that reason of, I'm not going to go test drive a performance car with some stranger salesman dude going, what do you think of the stitching on that steering wheel, sir? And
But hang on. Even I look at that stuff. Like some of this, like I look at all of this stuff, right? Like how do I fit in the car? I'm 5'10" and I'm average build at this point, right? Like I look at it's like, man, a guy that's a little husky isn't gonna like these seats kind of thing. Like you have to think about all the people, the fat people, the skinny people, the short people, the tall people, the people that don't care about it with their car has an armrest. Like you have to consider all these things. Car costs $45,000, doesn't have an armrest. How is that going to piss you off? Do I want to take a road trip in this thing? Can I live with this beyond just going to a track day because it's a lot of fun? Like. And that's, again, these aren't Best Car to Buy for your weekend. This is like Best Car to Buy, period, end of stop. There's one winner.
So I made a mistake in this way when I bought the Golf R, which I am pretty much stuck with now that car values have tanked because I bought it earlier this year. It's a great car, wonderful car. For me, driving, amazing. For my wife, for every day, terrible car.
Why?
Too small.
Oh.
Too small, not enough ground clearance.
She went from a sport wagon. This thing is lowered because it had too much wheel gap.
Yeah. Well, I haven't lowered it.
Oh, thank God.
I haven't touched it. It's got the self-leveling suspension. All the what's it called?
That doesn't have
what's the name?
It doesn't have
but it has like the electromagnetic
adaptive.
Yeah,
but that's not self-leveling.
I know. I couldn't think of. I couldn't remember the Volkswagen.
It doesn't do anything you just described at all.
It's just dynamic.
It's DSS or DSCC or something like that. Dynamic chassis control or something. I just wrote about this in the RS3.
It's in the Strut. It's like electric.
Yeah, and changed it with sport mode, comfort mode, whatever. But that doesn't change your ride height.
I know, but I'm just saying. So lowering it with that on there is just like.
No, it's not.
It becomes like
lowering any car is stupid. Anyway, no, we're not going.
KW makes a
we're
set
not doing
for that.
this.
I did this on the RS4. Same setup.
Guys, focus.
No.
So there's a wide gamut, right? When you're coming into this, you got to think about all these different things, right? So like, and if you look at that, we have a post up that literally I wrote, and it's the monster post every year. It's the worst post to write because you take everything that was a nominee that didn't make the cut. I mean, dude, there's so many cars. I want to go look really actually.
So you have to basically justify and explain why those other cars didn't make it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful.
What do you ever get on the phone with one of the manufacturers and they're just, dude, Joel,
No.
Z didn't make it? What's
No.
wrong? There's
No.
never any feedback or anything?
No. And if I'll listen to you, I guess.
You'll entertain their complaints.
Hang on a second. I'm going to count. One. This is the cars that didn't make the cut.
Sure.
Okay.
And I had to write an
So
article.
we add 7 to this, and that gives us the total nominees.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 cars.
So 26 total
7,
nominees.
20, oh, yeah, 26.
26.
Adding.
Yeah. So I probably rounded it, said it was nearly 30. But the point in the article. But so like
Yeah.
there was 19 cars that I had to write an article that literally ran through each and every car, 4 or 5 enough sentences. They explained why it didn't make the final list.
Is it usually a glaring thing or is it more nuanced than that?
Something like F-150 Raptor R, it was literally as simple as it got overshadowed by the Raptor for our entire team.
Okay. So simple thing.
Yeah. It was overshadowed by it's more expensive. It drinks more gas. It's not that much quicker. It's not that much more fun. It got overshadowed by the Raptor. Like for that
Can
kind
haul stuff.
the point is to go off-roading in that. Otherwise, I can just get a truck.
Right.
Well, we're going to get into something like that a little bit later in the news. Let's continue on. If you want to, I'll post about this. Go check out Motor Authority. Yeah. It's at Joel Feder, wherever you want to find Joel. You can see what he's up to.
Last question with
Yes.
this. You talked about how there was like a hill you were dying on a previous year that the car you wanted didn't get voted. Mm-hmm. Did you agree this year with the winner?
There was no issues this year for Motor Authority or Green Carports.
So it was unanimous?
There's been zero issues when it came down to it.
Okay.
All right. So I got a couple of questions from the Overcrest Discord, the Drivers Club, for Feder.
Sure.
What was it like to be your university's first car critic, and how did you get there?
Wait, I feel like there's a backstory here we need.
Guys, I didn't know how to write.
You didn't know how to write?
You gotta understand. I went to school so hang on. You're talking to the guy. So yeah, my job today is to write car news and interview CEOs and write fun stories and drive cars and all that stuff. You gotta realize, my mom and dad paid a tutor. I'm the kid that couldn't read or write or do math. I'm the kid that had
Clearly you still can.
Yeah. My parents paid a lot of money for a tutor to get me to just pass school.
Yeah.
I went to school and I was originally being an orthodontist. I was majoring in bio. That lasted about 2 weeks. It wasn't gonna. The road wasn't gonna make it. And so I ended up going to school for business marketing. My degree is in business marketing. I did not go to J school. I had no training. I was not qualified. And so I was the car critic. Someone at the Times Delphic figured out what I knew about cars and my passion for cars. And they said, you should write us an article. So I went to dealerships, local dealerships, and said, hi, I'm the car critic for the Drake University Times Delphic, whatever. Can I test drive this car? I'm going to write about it. Whatever. It was the G8, like whatever. G6, the Toyota Tundra was new.
Just give me a car.
Give me a car for a day. And
Sure.
they did. And I wrote about it. And I've went back and looked at some. I think it's still on my computer. It's bad. It's really bad. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know what I was
look
doing.
at my old photos. They're bad too.
It was so, dude. Like sentence construction didn't exist. There was no commas. Run sentences. And I didn't even know what I was actually reviewing because I didn't understand. It was just hyperbole. It was hyperbole. I didn't understand how to put myself in these shoes of people and all that.
Well, you
stuff.
didn't have any reference points either, right? If that's the first car you're driving, that's a new car.
There was no reference points. I was young. I didn't understand the consumer and what I was actually supposed to be doing.
Yep.
It didn't matter. But like, so the point with looking back, it's embarrassing. Looking forward, I mean, looking at overall, it's cool, right? I was the first car critic. Someone knew me. Someone knew that I loved cars and I knew a ton about cars. And so they said, do you want to write an article about cars? And they liked it, and then they made it a regular thing.
And so this was for your university's publication.
It was for the university's school newspaper back in the day where they printed things.
What university?
Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa.
All right, next one. Dingle says, has Tesla messed up again yet?
What do you mean? I don't understand the question again.
I think it's a
joke. So how is and I'll let it roll into this next question from Picklet.
Oh, hang on. Let me answer.
We can roll them together. Trust me.
Sure.
We can roll them together. Picklet says Tesla can't reign forever. I'm not seeing a whole lot of useful innovation recently. Who is most prepared to take the crown? Who's doing the most right? Who's doing the most wrong?
Sure.
VW Group, Rivian, Lucid.
Sure.
Tesla, see, we can roll those in a little bit.
Sure. Look, Tesla has long figured out how to design, engineer a car. They still have really struggled with how to build and build a car. And they're having a lot of growing pains, whether it's service or whatever. Their charging network is their ace in the hole. Their charging network was really smart. Everyone that jumps on Tesla is having the most robust charging network, the most range and all that stuff. Everyone's got to realize they have a decade head start.
Right.
They literally started a decade ahead of everyone.
Plus, they were
and
extremely
does everyone
nimble.
Do people not think that Ford and GM and everyone know how to make cars, or Porsche? Do they not know? Do they think they don't know how to build cars?
Yeah, but they're not they're not as nimble as Tesla was.
Yeah, and actually that's why Ford split their company in two, because then they can do the other side, be very nimble. It's very smart at what they do. Look, the answer to the question is Tesla is actually Tesla's biggest issue right now is Elon Musk, and I'll tell you why. Everyone that loved the Tesla, the early adopters, and all the people that were the thumpers, they're very left-leaning people.
Yes.
Very, very left-leaning people. Tesla stock is down like half. Like Musk is losing a ton of money. The problem is that the people he's courting right now, they really don't like electric cars. Yeah. They like diesels and blowing black smoke and gasoline.
Sure.
So Tesla's biggest issue. If I was on Tesla's board, I might want to get rid of Elon. Like he's currently a risk.
There's been rumors like someone from China was going to take over at Tesla.
So anyway, I don't want to get into politics or any of that stuff. But so Tesla's biggest issue right now is actually Musk. If you look at their stock price, you look at the volatility and all that stuff. He's a liability at the moment.
To be fair, the entire NASDAQ is down a lot.
They're not helping, but yes, yeah.
The entire
I wasn't even talking about investments. I was literally talking about for the company, right?
Right.
Because a lot of these left-leaning people that were the Tesla thumpers and love it and early adopters, they also invested a lot of money. Some of them in their life savings, and they made a lot of money, but they're losing a lot of money. And these aren't people that probably can afford to lose a lot of money. Musk can afford to lose a lot of money because he's still really rich. Anyway,
don't invest on emotion.
So no, you shouldn't. But to answer the other questions, so Rivian is really innovating as far as packaging. That Rivian R1T is one of the most innovative packaged vehicles I have seen in one of my lifetimes.
It is.
Give me an example.
The gear tunnel.
Okay.
The gear tunnel is a real innovation. Here's the thing.
What is a gear tunnel? I don't know what that.
The gear tunnel is the storage that's under the bed in between the cab.
Gear. Okay,
tunnel.
gotcha.
I was thinking transmission tunnel.
Yeah, I was too.
Gear tunnel. That's what they call their tunnel.
Okay.
So that thing is like packaging amazingness. It's
smart.
And you can't do that unless you have a clean sheet vehicle.
Yes.
So you can't do that in an F-150 Lightning, but you might be able to do it in the next generation F-150 Lightning. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So also Lucid is really innovative in terms of their electric motors they designed in-house. Their electric motors are twice as power dense and half the size of everyone else, including Tesla's. So Peter, the CEO of Lucid, is the chief engineer for the Model S, and then Musk pushed him out, and he basically the entire company of Lucid is basically at this to Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So if Lucid decides, screw it, we're not gonna build cars anymore, we're gonna shut the doors. They could become a supplier and just supply electric motors to everybody else, right? That's why they're getting 400 and 500 miles of range with the same size battery pack as everybody else, because their motors are so efficient, their inverters are so efficient.
Well, no matter how you slice it, whatever delivery you're doing, power density, whether it's gas or battery or electric motor, that's what it's all about.
Correct.
Period.
And also their packaging is really, 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 really efficient. They've got really well packaged. They have a huge trunk. They have huge false floors. They have a huge frunk.
I think they're going to age poorly visually.
I'm not sure I agree. I think they're very Citroen-y, French looking.
They are.
I think they're very timeless personally, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, not mine.
It's just my opinion. So I think GM, what GM is doing is really interesting. It's very risky because they've kind of bet the entire company on a new platform, on a new thing. And so Ford and GM took very different paths to this electrification. You have to understand. So Ford was first. Ford did it the easy way. The Mach-E is kind of a C1 mishmash platform. They took a gas-powered platform, they ripped a bunch of stuff out, they shoved a bunch of batteries in, and it became an electric car platform. So it's a mishmash from bits they already had. Lightning is the same deal. They moved cross members in an F-150 platform. That's how they could get it to market so fast, because they built it on the F-150 Lightning, or the F-150 line, and then they shoved a bunch of batteries into the actual thing, right? So these aren't ground-up vehicles, but they're very, very good, and they got out on time. GM,
what else were they supposed to do?
But GM's taking a lot longer, and GM built a ground up platform like a skateboard that's called the Ultimate platform. Basically, the platform, there's two versions: a car crossover SUV and think of it like a body on frame, but it's not really body on frame. But so like Hummer EV and all that trucks, right? So Silverado EV, 2 platforms, right? They all share the same packs. They're called the Ultium packs. These packs are like nothing else anyone's doing. Imagine a keyboard, right? So it's as long as a keyboard, as thin as a keyboard, and they're all stacked vertically like this. Ding, 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 ding. And they're all in modules. So one car might have 30 modules. Mike, I'm making these numbers up. One car might have 10 modules. And the 10 module car, obviously, is a smaller car, and it won't go as far, et cetera. And so you have trucks, and you can double stack them too. This is a platform that the entire company is being bet on. The entire company is going to make every vehicle, except for basically Corvette.
It's like MQB, but for batteries.
100%. But this is trucks, SUV. This is the entire company, other than basically the Corvette, which will have batteries shoved in the top.
Oh, that's its own company now.
It's its own company now. But you have to understand, if this doesn't go well, if this fails, if they made a mistake,
All of the eggs are in one basket.
100%.
Too big
But
Joel?
if they're right,
Too big to fail.
Not anymore, I don't think.
not anymore. If they're right. So GM and Ford took very different paths, and the path that GM took,
You can touch it. You can move it back.
It's harder. It's harder. It's taking longer. They had to develop
Right.
it from ground up and all that stuff. And the ramp to build these things, they're building the lines, is taking a long time.
What's the first vehicle we're going to see?
The Hummer was the first vehicle.
Okay, so that's using
Hummer
this
is
new
That's
architecture.
the body on frame version.
That GMC truck is really the first.
But the Hummer EV was the first, and the Hummer EV is being basically was being hand built. Now it's not being hand built, but it's a slow ramp, super slow ramp. The first mass market vehicle that we're considering mass market is Cadillac Lyriq, which is a finalist.
okay.
Yeah, so that's using the car crossover
Right.
SUV non-body on frame version. So but they're the same concept of battery cells and all this stuff.
Okay, so all this said, what about Volkswagen?
Last one. Hyundai Group is one that everyone should be very. If you're an automaker, you should be nervous, and if you're a consumer, you should be watching. Everything the Hyundai Group is doing is really innovative, really smart. They are ahead of the curve. Every one of their vehicles, almost that's an EV, has an 800-volt electrical architecture. You can charge super fast, really fast, in a $40,000 car.
This has changed in 4 years.
It's who took the bet. Who took the bet and ran with it? Toyota's so far behind.
Oh.
All the Japanese are so far behind. Honda, Toyota, Mitsubishi, Mazda are so far. Subaru, so far behind electrification. I mean, and the only one that's really that surprising and embarrassing is kind of Toyota. But it's like, oh my lord, like they are so behind.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. I mean,
Interesting.
what I was getting on in the 3 to 5 years is Hyundai specifically. In the last 3 to 5 years, that company has become someone I literally don't even take a second look at.
Shouldn't.
To something that I'm like, I want to see everything they do.
You should.
Yeah.
Crazy
Their
that
design.
they're being able to pivot like that from an economy shitbox company to a wow. I don't know what you would call the opposite of a shitbox, but
So in the timeline
whatever
for that-
the opposite of shitbox is, that's Hyundai. That's
So
great.
the timeline for that was about 2007 was the reliability turn, but they still looked like toast.
Yep.
Right.
2010, 2011 is when they started looking like, damn, but they already had the reliability down because they came out the generation before. And then about 5-6 years ago, it's like, gloves are off. We're going down,
Yep.
right? Like, and the swarm, the flood of what's about to come from Hyundai, Genesis, Kia. The competition should be nervous.
Yeah, we had the head of PR for Hyundai North America on the podcast. I don't remember. It was like 3 years ago.
It was a while ago.
It was a while
Didn't
ago.
you have Derek Joyce at one point?
Yes, Derek Joyce.
He's a great guy. He runs
was
all
awesome.
the end stuff, all the performance and fun stuff.
He was
He's
awesome.
a great guy.
He was saying, I can't tell you what we're doing. This is before all this cool stuff that we're seeing now is coming out. He's like, I can't tell you what we're doing, but it's going to be awesome.
And,
Yeah.
and I
And
can
he
I
was-
can tell you he's not lying.
Yeah,
There's a
it's-
bunch of
they're off.
electric N stuff, which is their performance division.
Right.
N. There's some really cool stuff.
All right, let's get
That's
into a
awesome.
little bit of news. We got a bunch to go through here. So we have Corvette is going to launch as a brand in 2025
Okay.
with a 4-door and an SUV.
Of course they are.
Go for it. Let's do it.
A source who has seen the first proposals describes them as copies of nothing and as encapsulated by emotional purity.
I don't like the last one,
Who
but
is this source?
I believe that first one, the last one's a
Just
bunch of
says
marketing
source.
BS.
Corvette is not just a brand; it's constantly evolving system paired with a dramatically different user experience.
Oh my goodness.
That's marketing.
The 4-door coupe, think of it as more of a liftback, and crossover add 2 new values to the mark: mainstream exclusivity and overt luxury.
That's an oxymoron, by the way.
is.
Mainstream exclusivity.
It is.
It's marketing speak
Yeah.
as well. And the crossover, they thanks to a delicate balance of functionality and fashion, stats and style, and limited availability, fueling high desirability. All three pillars are prepared for pragmatic evolution and subsequent proliferation.
Where did you get this?
Quote, the aim is not to beat the Taycan and Cayenne at their own game, but to create three American legends capable of breaking new ground by making the essence of Corvette scalable. To do so, that essence must at all times be in the state of progressive flux. If you want to see the sources for this, they'll be in the show notes. Are they doing this because Cadillac sucks? Like,
No.
why are they?
No.
Why does that have anything to do with it?
I don't understand the relation. Cadillac is being reborn. I mean, the Lyric made our finals.
So
Lyric Cadillac's great.
Why do they need this?
Totally different.
I wasn't saying Cadillac sucks. I'm like, is that the perception? Like,
No,
what's going on? Why
totally different. Think of it like they're making Mustang a family brand
Yeah,
of
Mustang
cars, and
Mach-E,
Lightning will be and Bronco will
which
be.
is terrible.
I disagree with that.
What's terrible?
He thinks
The Mustang Mach-E, just the fact that they're bastardizing the Mustang name and
disagree
the
fully.
Corvette name.
Disagree
I
fully.
honestly
I have no problem with this.
From like I used to think the exact same way. Like, I understand like the bastardizing of the name. It's
Right.
Is it-
stupid. But what else are they supposed to do?
Hang on
If
a
they're-
second. Let me ask you a different question, okay? Let
Yeah.
me tell you why it's not, and let me see if I can change your mind.
Okay.
So there's multiple points here, but I'm gonna try and sum them up. So the main points are: one, anyone that buys a GT V8 whatever Mustang coupe,
Yep.
they're not interested in buying an electric Mustang, electric Escape.
Right, yeah,
anything.
100%, yeah.
Right. But all the people driving a Tesla Model Y or I'm just gonna pick that because it's one of the most
Sure,
popular crossover
yeah.
SUVs, right? They're young. Demographically speaking, they're our age, they're 40s. Like,
Sure.
demographically speaking, they're a younger subset of people
Okay.
that have an income of, I don't know, I'm not that kind of guy, but like, I don't know the stats, but like,
Regardless,
enough
yes.
money to buy something like this, right?
Okay.
And you need to attach a name that has cachet that people know. People, even though the guy doesn't want a Mustang V8, this guy,
Yeah.
he knows what a Mustang is, right? And Mustang is cool. He grew up with cool. Hang on, stop. Let me finish.
I'm letting you.
Let me finish.
I'm just shaking my head at you
I know.
silently.
But that guy isn't going to buy the other Mustang, right? And the other guy that buys a Mustang is going to buy this. So why not take a brand name a brand that everyone likes, and expand it in a completely different direction that has no crossover whatsoever? Because the guys aren't going to cross shop the cars. There's no confusion here. No confusion.
But this is like saying that
Chris, why don't you let me finish?
I want to hear Jake.
I have one thing. This is basically what you're explaining is saying I could cheat on my wife if I could get away with it. That makes it okay.
I disagree
No.
with that. It's not like that at all. Don't do that. I like her.
It's a pure.
I'll choose her.
Don't do that to Jess.
It's a pure marketing
So-
play.
Well,
It is a marketing
brand,
play.
It's brand recognition.
It's
and that's
brand
what you're getting
recognition.
at is brand recognition. Holy crap. Okay. So you're getting at brand recognition. And I just destroyed my microphone stand. Finally.
How many episodes have we said
Finally.
stop touching your microphone
Finally.
stand?
I know. Well, I needed to.
Got so
and
angry
you're
about the
talking
Mustang
about.
Mach-E.
That's what it took. That's what it took. Oh my god.
Electric
Getting me all
Mustang did it.
fired up. Yes, they're completely different demographics. That's what you're getting at. But my point or my thought is there's such different demographics that the guy that's buying the Tesla Model Y right now isn't going to identify with the Mustang brand, the Corvette brand. They're not going to think that's a cool brand. They're not going to think this is a cool play. It's just diluting. And you also said there's no confusion for the guy that's going to buy the coupe or the Corvette or whatever. No, but it's diluting that brand. He's going to go.
Is it though?
Yeah. When you go to the dealer
What
to
is he
get
going to
the
buy
new
instead?
Corvette,
What's he
you're
buying
gonna
instead?
go,
What's he buying instead? What is this guy that you're thinking is being diluted and disillusioned?
What's he going to buy? A Camaro that's dying? The Dodge Challenger is dying? What's he going to go buy? BRZ?
I don't know. I don't know that there's a good example.
let me answer-
But
let
I
me
do
answer.
think it's diluting the brand.
Let me tell you how I know you're wrong. Because everyone I
'Cause
know,
sales are up.
well, they can't build them fast enough. Everyone I know that has a Mustang Mach-E,
Yeah.
freaking loves it and doesn't care. They think it's cool. They think it's cool, and they would never buy
It
a
is
Mustang.
so far from cool though.
You know that a Mustang, almost every model, but specifically a GT, would smoke the shit out of everything you own, right? You know that.
What?
For less
a
money.
Mach-E, you're saying? Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, straight line speed, sure.
I mean, I had one sideways. It was on premises. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I can't. No, the bastardization of the brand name.
Also, and I can tell you, you know how I know it's recognition? Because I had a Mustang Mach-E, and I took my son over there, who was sitting right there, 5 feet from us, to soccer practice, and he got out of it. And there was a Mustang V6, Turbo 4, whatever the hell, convertible, sitting 5 cars display. He looks at that car, looks at our car, and you know what he says to me, unprompted? Hey, look, they have the same kind of car as us. That's the
Yeah.
generation. That's the generation. You're gonna die. That guy is the generation.
That's disappointing then. You need to do better at educating your son.
They both have a fucking Mustang horse on the back of it.
Yeah,
He's
well,
smart.
your shirt also has a horse on it. That's not a Mustang.
It's
That's a Bronco.
And he could tell you that. He could tell you that.
Okay, but a Mustang Mach-E is not a Mustang.
It is a Mustang. It literally. You know how I know it's a.
And
you
a
know, do you know how-
four-door
Do you know how I know it's a
Corvette is
Mustang?
not a
Do
Corvette.
you know how I know it's a Mustang? It has a
Because it says so. It has a
Yeah.
Mustang on it.
Yeah.
Who does Jesus? You're fired up about this.
I do not like it. I understand the marketing behind it and why the bean counter said, well, let's
Maybe it's
go
my
into
marketing
a
degree that
focus
I-
group. And the focus group says that we're going to use the Corvette name and it's cool now.
The reason they did it is, in my opinion, fear. I think it's fear. I think it's like, oh my God, we've got to get, not only do we have to get the new generation, but we also have to keep the boomers kind of happy. We need something for their name recognition. You know, how are we going to do this? Let's call it the Mustang. I feel like there's a little bit of that in there too. Obviously, this is all marketing. And I think if anybody is going to be able to say what a Mustang is, I guess it would be Ford. If you think about it, it's their brand, their car. They can say it's whatever they want. Technically, Jake, you just leave it
What did
alone.
you
and
do
just
to
hold
I'm
it.
done. I don't
hold
care.
It,
I'm
hold it
done.
for the rest of the day.
I
I
am.
pissed off Jake.
If you're watching the stream or you're watching
I
us on
suppose
YouTube,
it is good we have video here now.
Jake has ripped his microphone off of the boom arm. He is so
It's
upset about this
dumb.
Mustang thing.
There's plenty of good brand recognition names they could have used.
Like what? What would have been better for that thing?
What about the
Escape?
Falcon? Dude, the Ford Falcon? They should have brought that back.
Yeah, but that's dead. That's a dead model.
Exactly. Revise it. Brand
And it was
recognition.
never- it was never
How
as
are you?
popular as
How are
cool
you
as a
gonna?
Mustang.
How are you gonna forward look? And I don't like this either. But I'm trying to just please stop playing with that. You're gonna drive me insane. How is Ford supposed to go forward looking and be like, this is our new thing?
Well, then you're-
and we're gonna name it after this car that's been dead for 40 years.
Well, you're doing the same thing. This is our new thing, but we're using our name that's been around for 60 years.
This is our new thing, and it is the evolution of the thing that's always been successful and is the most, other than the Bug, one of the most successful cars of all time. We're continuing that tradition with this.
Here's the thing.
I'm just saying
People
this is
aren't
from
dumb. People aren't dumb. So they see the Mustang Mach-E. No, society's dumb.
Here's
But
the thing.
people
I've
are
never
not dumb.
I've
People
never
are
talked
smart.
to an enthusiast that thinks it's a good idea. I haven't. But as Joel said, the people that are buying it think it's cool and they love it.
Even-
So who's right?
Even my in-laws will see a Mustang Mach-E and they're like, why does that have a Mustang badge on it? Like my sister who doesn't,
That's
she's like
because
kind of
they-
knows cars. She's like, someone put a Mustang badge on their like weird SUV. I
That's
was
because
like,
they're
it's
kids of the
dumb.
60s and 70s. That's why. They're kids of the 60s and 70s, and that was the iconic car then. It's not anymore. It's not the same thing.
I still don't like it. They should have used a new name. Just like if you want to get going on the Corvette brand, they shouldn't have called the mid-engine Corvette a Corvette.
Why?
That should have been.
Hang on, actually, you know what? That's a good topic, and you want to know why? Because I wrote 2 editorials before that car was revealed, but we knew it was coming.
Yeah,
on
I
why-
agree with you. You
on
wanted
why
to do the Corvette
Zora.
Zora. Yep.
They're gonna make a Zora. It's gonna be a Zora. It's gonna have 1,000 horsepower.
Well, then they should have had that along with
It's gonna
kind
be
of
above
the
the
heritage
ZR1
line.
So here's the
Corvette.
deal: the Corvette thing. I'm the one who wrote the editorial about how it was a dumb idea, and here's why. And they should keep actually the non mid-engine and the mid-engine and run
Yep.
parallel. I wrote the whole thing, and then you know what I did when I reviewed the Corvette, the C8? I ate crow, which is a very rare thing. I publicly ate crow, and I was wrong.
Just
Have you
'cause
driven?
it's that
Have you,
much
have you
better.
have you driven a C8 Corvette?
No, I haven't.
Stop talking.
Fair point.
Yeah. Well, all right.
I'm the right.
I
I
have
wrote
no
2
doubt
editorials
it's
about it.
better. I have no doubt that it's better.
Does it need an engine in the front to be a Corvette?
In my mind, yes.
Oh well.
Wow.
Yeah. It needs to have a fiberglass body and have a small block up front.
I don't agree
That's
with the
a
fiberglass
Corvette.
body thing.
A Corvette has always had a fiberglass body from day one.
Yeah, but that's not its defining
I
characteristic.
actually.
It's
are
one of
you
them.
sure the
No, it
first
isn't.
the C1 did?
If you walked up to
From
most people and asked them,
1953-54.
Did you know it also has 6-cylinder, right?
What?
The first one had a 6-cylinder.
Yeah, the Blue Flame 6.
Just checking to make sure you knew
Blue
the
Flame.
6-cylinder.
Do you know how you can differentiate the first model year V8 from the V6 model?
Not top of my
The
head.
Corvette script had a capital V in the middle of Corvette.
Well, maybe
It's kinda
Jake knows
cool.
more about Corvettes than I do, and I'm wrong. I don't know.
I know
if
this
you-
is a stupid idea.
the Corvette is like everybody in America knows Corvettes,
Sure.
right? Everybody knows what a
Yeah.
Corvette is. If you walked up to the most people and said, "What is this car made of?" they would just say it's a just a car.
Fine,
They
but
don't,
it is-
that's not a defining
Well,
characteristic.
then what are they? Name more than one.
It is a front engine muscle car made by Chevy. It is a step up from
Technically a sports car, not a muscle car.
step up from the Camaro. You're right, but it's a step up from the Camaro. That's what most people would say. It's the sports car that's better than a Camaro. That's what most Americans would say a Corvette is. I don't know that Corvette fans do not like the mid-engine thing, and I agree that it should have been
Then
named.
who are they building this for? Joel.
They can't build them fast enough, dude.
I know.
It's a great car.
You know,
Yeah, it's a Chevrolet Ferrari, right?
You know what else is?
Absolutely a Chevrolet Ferrari. I've driven
Right.
I've driven a 458. I've been in other mid-engine Ferraris. It's
It's a Chevrolet Ferrari.
Why make this drastic of a change with the Corvette when the entire platform has to transfer over to EV anyway?
Also, well, because
This was probably planned long before.
no. So hang on, two things we're mixing here. One, you have to understand that the C7 was really a C6.5, and the C8 was supposed to be the C7, but bankruptcy screwed it all over. They actually started that Blackjack prototype, the Blackjack that was the G8 Ute that they had put the engine in the back and then
Yeah.
they covered over it.
Okay.
That was designed and running before bankruptcy. This was supposed to be the C7. You got to understand that. C7 was a C6.5. It was a very heavy C6 update. Very heavy, very thorough, but it was not a new car.
More squinty eyes.
New bodywork, but there was actually new underpinnings to it too. But it was not a ground re-scratch. Like it was not like C6 was ground up. C7 was not ground up. C8 was ground up, and C8 was supposed to be C7. First off, so you're asking a question of like whatever. So timeline wise, it got murky because of the bankruptcy.
Sure.
To your answer question, C8 was always going to be electrified. Always. First, the hybrid's coming out for 2023, and it's because when you look at the chassis, in between the front, when you look at the Mega chassis, there's a hole in between the front wheels, which is where the electric motor goes. Like there's
Okay.
literally a hole.
So it's planned that way. So this is part of the evolution.
100%. And then the gear tunnel has space that they're gonna they'll rip out the entire thing and put the battery in there in the gear tunnel, and they'll do a T. So they'll do a T and like this, and then the hybrid will probably, I'm guessing here, right? Don't quote me. I don't know this 100% yet, but it will probably have. I know it's gonna have all-wheel drive because the videos we saw the front wheels moving in snow.
Sure.
So it's gonna put the electric motor to the front, one or two. They'll probably have, because they have the 8-speed dual clutch. They'll probably do a pancake transmission. So they'll have an electric motor that's not super powerful, but it'll be in the transmission that'll shoot power to the rear with electrified. I don't know how big the battery pack's gonna be, so I don't know what kind of range I'm gonna be able to do. But when they have the electric one, I mean, they're going to have over 200 miles of range easily. They're probably going to aim for 3, but they'll have to do a very high dense energy pattern.
All right, let's
I
move on.
suppose
Let's
at
move
that
on. Let's
point,
move on.
Since if it's all electric, there is no motor anywhere
Correct.
positioned.
So it's gonna
then
be a
it
T,
doesn't
like I
matter.
said, it's the tunnel
So it
and then
doesn't
it's the
matter anyways. Who cares?
So your argument's bunk. Moving on.
Yeah.
The new Lamborghini Sterrato. Can you open that up, Jake, and give me a play on that
Oh,
link?
this stupid thing. It's the off-road thing.
Yeah, give us hit play
I'm
for
getting
me.
there. Come on. I have to hit the.
I need
You're
some-
going to be able to see this.
No.
You don't need to. This is their stupid ad. I'm sure you saw it.
Yes.
Everyone did.
This one's for you. Concrete uriner, tamer of curves, master of speed. Where you'll find the suit, dirt is made for it. Let the show off begin. On this new concrete.
Okay, so that's enough, but that gives you the perspective of. So I've gotten a couple of DMs about this. Is this a Saturday Night Live skit?
Right.
Also, my wife goes, and a bunch of other people goes, was that written by AI? Was another question that I got. The other one was, in my mind, this sounds like a Bud Light commercial guy. He sounds like this Bud's for you.
Sure.
It's the same voice actor as this Bud Light. This Bud
What
Light is
I'm
for you.
wondering, was it written in Italian, the home market, and then it's like a weird lost in translation thing? That's what my mind went
This
to.
is too big of a company to have anything be lost in translation.
True.
What do you guys? My biggest problem, and it's at the end, so we don't have to listen to it all. So my biggest problem with this is the entire ad is basically saying you need this car so that you can go drive around in the dirt and get your car dirty so that you can show people that you like to get your car dirty. That is the entire point of this of this commercial.
I will say, yeah, any Lamborghini is to show off.
Yeah, I agree completely. But it's never been said so bluntly and so forwardly.
Yeah. You're like, they know you're not actually going to take this thing to like off-road somewhere at some off-road park.
Right. They basically say that
showing off.
Dirt is the trophy, is what they're saying. And in my opinion, a dirty car is the afterglow of what actually happened. You know, your car is dirty as just like
it should be evidence of an adventure.
It's
right?
the afterglow.
This guy, 98% of them, they're going to, on the way to Cars and Coffee, go through some mud pit and park it out front.
Like you did with your Cayenne.
Yes.
What do you guys think Stirato stands for? Joel, do you have any ideas?
I actually did know this. It's Italian for.
Don't say yet. What do you think
well, all the Lamborghinis are named after bulls.
Okay, so what is this one named after?
I don't know, a bull.
All right, so Aventador comes from a bull that earned the Trofeo de la Peña la Madonera for its courage in Spain's Saragossa Arena. Murcielago actually means bat.
Oh, that's not a bull.
Diablo means, obviously, is the devil. I didn't even have to look that one up. Countach is plague or contagion, which is pretty rad. Miura is named after the breed of fighting bull that originates from Ganaderia Miura, or the Miura cattle ranch in Seville, Spain. Stirato, dirt road.
Just in Italian, dirt road.
Just means dirt road. So this thing has 600 horsepower V10. Cool. Yep. 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. Not cool, but necessary. Like most people, anybody that's driving this thing is not driving a manual. I wouldn't want to
make a manual in Lamborghini anymore.
You just can't. You can't. I'm fine with like really high horsepower cars being like flappy pedal gearboxes. They're fine with me just because I'm not good enough driver. They call the I thought this was I forgot. Oh, the HMI. Do you know what HMI stands for?
Mm-hmm. Human to machine interface.
Human to machine interface. That's what they call all their buttons and dials and knobs and dash. Human machine interface. That's always kind of fun. So I do not have the problem with this as a car.
Yeah, you do.
I do not.
He has a problem with the marketing.
As a machine, and it is.
I have a problem with
market
it
to
as
your
a
buyer.
car.
What's
Market
that?
to your buyer.
Yes. Yeah. And this, to me, the car itself really isn't that much different than what Porsche just rolled out.
It's not.
The Dakar. It's basically the same thing.
Same concept.
It's the same thing. The only difference is that Porsche's marketing did it better, although they did build
But they have the heritage to do it with.
Exactly.
No, they don't. Not really.
I know. Hang on. I know what you're gonna say because I saw your Instagram story. But I saw the Rothmans car sitting next to the Type R in the freaking garage covered in mud.
This thing says, like, what does it say? Rough road on the side of it or something like that. Terrible. They won the Dakar in what, 1980s?
A rally car. It was a rally car. It's not a the new Dakar is not a rally car.
No, but they're basing it off of the Dakar. This is what it's called, is the Dakar. So they base it off they won a couple of times with a car that they didn't even build for the Dakar. They built it. It was basically a Group B car that never ever happened because Group B got canceled.
Yep.
So like, what the fuck are we going to do with all this technology that we just built? I know, let's go out to Dakar, lose, and then win a couple of times, and then 30 years later be like, check out this car built on our heritage. Woo! But really, they don't have a ton of rally heritage. They don't. So all these people are like, yeah, because Porsche does have a serious motorsports heritage, obviously. Yeah. Like Pinnacle, Bar Set, that kind of motorsport heritage, but not with rally, not with Dakar. It's a cash grab, just like Lamborghini's doing. Don't be fooled by the quieter, better marketing approach that Porsche did. It's the same thing.
They're only making like $2,500. It doesn't matter.
I know, but still, it's a marketing imaging thing.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Man, you're talking to the guy that went to the Line 11T launch, and that thing is just lovely.
All right, we're running out of time, so I'm going to skip a couple of these. Mercedes wants to charge extra for more acceleration.
Oh, we wrote about this.
Yes. Mercedes.
Actually, hang on, I'm going to pull up an email because I got them to finally answer questions.
Ooh, great. I'm going to read a little bit here.
Inside track here.
Mercedes locks faster acceleration behind a $1,200 annual paywall. From the Mercedes website, you can unleash enhanced performance for your car. There's a noticeable improvement in acceleration from 0.8 to 0.1 seconds to 0 to 60. Adjustment of the motor characteristics curve, torque, and maximum output. Increased acceleration available irrespective of the dynamic select drive program. It's about a 20 to 25% increase in power. Example, it's the Mercedes EQE 350 4MATIC goes from 288 horsepower to 349 horsepower. And I cannot believe it's called the EQE 4MATIC.
Forgot 350.
Don't wait for the SUV. It'll be there's a version of that, but with the SUV attached to the back of it.
So it's the EQ SUV EQE something. Yeah. It's like calling spaghetti plus.
Yeah.
You're just like repeating like the same exact thing.
Yes.
Don't we already? Here's the thing. Here's my devil's advocate on this. Don't we already pay for more power when we go to the dealership and we buy a car and there's a different trim and we pay more for that because it has more power?
Big problem is then you own it. It's not an annual subscription service.
Right.
That's the big difference.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because you can also pay the aftermarket for a tune, right? You're unlocking more power, same car, but you own it.
This is the future. It's where you'll own
subscription.
nothing and you'll be happy, right? That's the Davos, thing that they
Wanted
said.
heated seats, got to pay that subscription fee.
Everything. This is even in the video game world.
Well, hang on a second. That's a little different.
Why?
Because that's an actual feature of a car. This is just giving you more power. Those are different things. Like, so there's a Jersey bill that's being proposed right now. We wrote about this too. That is looking to ban what you described, but not what we're talking about. Because the difference is that you bought a car that has a feature that's disabled and you would pay extra to get it. You're talking about with the Benz, a car
Annual.
that has the power that just, you could get more power. Yours is an upgrade. Yours is a feature. You see the difference here?
So do you have the heated seats?
Semantically, yes.
No, the hardware for the heated seats there. He bought the car. It has it, but you have to pay to use it. That's a feature.
Do you pay once or do you pay annually?
It's a subscription.
It's a little TBD, but it'll probably be a subscription.
Yeah.
Little TBD.
How is
There's
that
a bill.
different?
There's a bill, right?
I agree,
How is
it's
it
not
different?
different.
Because this is a feature where he bought hardware that has this.
This is lawyer speak. From an actual consumer standpoint, they're the same.
No, it's not.
well,
I can tell
also
you
the
why.
hardware's still there to be more
so
powerful.
let me tell you.
That's just software.
It's
Right.
different.
So is a heated
So
seat.
I can explain this because I have the answer in front of me from
Okay,
Katie's.
go ahead.
Okay.
So the case of the acceleration increase, the car that you bought was optimized for range because they want to market a range number, right? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
By paying for the power increase, it's going to optimize for acceleration, which means it's going to come at the detriment of range. You understand what I'm
Right,
saying?
obviously.
You're paying for a performance boost. It's like going and putting a supercharger on your car. Not the exact same thing, but it's going for a performance boost. You understand?
Yeah, but you're saying someone's going to show up at my house and repo the supercharger off of my car if I don't pay the annual premium. That's the
Right.
difference.
So the difference is that maybe you don't like the idea that you get less range now. You understand? Like you're like, I don't want to pay for this anymore. I don't want less
So
range.
then
I
they
want
just
more
need to
range.
put a sport mode button
Right.
in there,
That's
and I
all
just
sport
don't.
mode does anyways.
Nah,
And,
sport
it's a
mode
little
kind of just
different. This is
recurves.
literally that recurves the map. This is
I know,
literally
but regardless, it's a
retuning it.
mode.
It is a mode, but I mean, look. There is a difference. There's a distinct
I don't
legal.
think so.
There's a distinct legal difference. And I know
Sure.
this because there's a bill that's being proposed in Jersey, and if it passes, you can guarantee it's going to spread across the United States. And automakers do not like this idea. The bill part.
We need to
Right,
find out
because
a
they
little bit more
want to
about
be
this
able
bill.
to charge.
They want to be able to
for
charge
subscription
extra features. Yeah, absolutely.
So dumb.
It's
absolutely a cash grab.
Oh,
To be clear,
obviously.
this
But
is
they're
the
different
way,
things.
This is the way everything is. Okay, think about what you're doing on your smart TV, on your
Right.
phone, on video games, with
100%.
microtransactions.
How many subscriptions do we have for? Remember, we
Right.
were going to get rid of cable because we were only going to pay for what we want. I pay more now than I would for cable.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
a lot more.
I do too. The problem with this whole going to the subscription
Bad
model,
timeline, boys.
It is also kind of pushing us towards like what would we call it? You're not an ownership model. It's
It's
more
a
of
leasing.
like a, yeah,
It's
a
literally pushing
usage
everyone to
model.
lease.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
You'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
Right.
You're going to rent everything.
Yeah, you're going to rent everything.
You
You'll
rent
have no ownership.
your services for Peacock and Netflix and
It's
Hulu.
right.
It's renting.
It's the baseline destruction of private property.
We basically buy an Apple TV or a Vudu TV, like the box, right?
Right.
We own the box.
Yep.
But the box is useless without the internet, which you have to pay for a subscription every month. And then once you pay for that, you're paying for the subscriptions to rent the movies you want from Netflix, rent the Peacocks you can watch Yellowstone or whatever. Like, that's what we're doing now. Everything is we're renting. We own nothing, and we're happy about it.
It is a shitty way.
We own nothing. Chris is right.
It is a shitty way to have a representation of your time and talent. You're spending your time and talent, which you're rewarded in the form of money, right? So you go and you write something for more than 30, they give you money.
And they own it. They own what I just wrote.
Absolutely.
They own the photo I just took.
You take that money.
Yep.
And then you give it to somebody.
For something that will be
something
taken
you-
away if I don't continue to pay for them.
Yeah. Versus owning the thing and having the physical private property that you own. It is the debasement of private property. I feel like it's like
It's like renting anything.
It's
But
like part of the
interesting
quote
thing
unquote
is if you
great
look at the
reset.
evolution, look at the evolution of this, right? So, like, okay, Tom Cruise, when we were kids, Tom Cruise makes the first Mission Impossible, right? And he makes the movie, he gets paid, whatever, right? Now, And that payment, that's the final payment. That's the only payment he gets, right? That's the only payment.
He gets royalties on DVDs and stuff, right?
So, but back in the day, there were no DVDs. It was VHS, and you went to Mr. Movies and you rented the VHS.
Yeah, right.
Now, do you think he's getting every time he's watching Netflix and Hulu and all these other streaming sites that's all watch over, especially from the one from the 80s, not even the new one. You see what I'm saying here?
Yeah, but
it goes. Even the celebrities aren't getting it. This was the
this
whole thing with the
concept
Taylor
from-
Swift and everyone doing the whole thing when Apple Music came out, and that was the whole lawsuit with all of this back in the day with Spotify and all that stuff. That's what this all was.
Yeah, but they're applying everything that's been associated with media, movies, music, television, and they're starting to apply it to things,
hardware.
to hardware and
100%.
physical goods.
Yep.
That's where I have the problem. Your house, your land, your car, whatever the case may be, your physical goods are now things that they don't want you to own, because once you own it, they can't make money off of it
Well,
anymore.
a lot of it, parts of it are recyclable at this point, right? Like electric cars and everything are going to be
Unfortunately.
recyclable, right? Whereas you buy a 57 Chevy, that's not quite so recyclable. So you see what I'm saying? So some of this stuff, it's like, I'm not so sure in 30, 40, 50 years, you're going to want to own it. You're not going to want to use imagine using a 10-year-old iMac or
You're
MacBook
right. I
Pro.
don't own my phone even.
You don't, and you probably don't want to, because in 3 or 4 years from now, you throw that thing against the wall.
I just have the service.
Right.
How is that? How is that
Car-
different than cars?
It's the same thing.
I
It is
know.
the same.
It's the same
But why
thing.
are we upset about the cars and not about the iPhone?
Because the iPhone costs, actually, these iPhones cost $1,500 now.
I'm seriously not like passionate about my iPhone. That's for sure. Like, I don't
Somebody is,
feel-
though. The people that used to be. I used to sell Verizon back in college. I had 18 phones in 9 months once.
I'm sure there's
Well, I did
phone
more than
geeks,
that.
but it's
You had more than 18 phones in 9
I worked
months?
indirect.
So I worked at a third-party indirect.
Okay. Yeah, we got to talk later.
all right. Last story. We skipped over like a bunch of stories. That's all right. Jake,
Yeah.
did you know
What?
someone just paid more than $200,000 for Steve Jobs' old Birkenstocks?
There you go.
I saw that story.
Priceless. Priceless. That's a deal.
This is the highest price ever paid for sandals.
And Jake bought them.
Yeah, they're in my collection.
The tech pioneers brown suede Arizona sandals, which
Yeah,
were
the
expected
Arizona model.
to make $60,000, sold for an astonishing $218,750 when they went under the hammer with an accompanied NFT. Prior to the sale, the California auction house said the sandals, described as well used but still intact, were a wardrobe staple for Jobs in the 70s and 80s. Jobs died in 2011. The cork and jute footbed, quote, this is a quote, the cork and jute, what's jute?
Jute is a plant. I don't know.
Oh, it's just mainly cork and jute. That's what they're made out of. Then the cork and jute footbed retains the imprint of Steve Jobs' feet,
There you
which
go.
had been shaped after years of use. Do you think the guy's just sitting there like, just like?
So it's
I
like
don't think they still smell
It's a
it.
$high foot fetish thing.
Oh man! The Birkenstocks were saved from the trash by Mark Scheff, a former house manager to Steve Jobs, during one of the tech icon's many clearouts. So this guy's like rooting
this
through his
dude-
trash.
Exactly.
That's
You know what?
expensive
Good
trash.
for him. Good for him. Because look
Guys
what he
are
just
weird.
did. He just sold them for $200,000.
Steve Jobs changed the world not only with his revolutionary innovations, but with his business leadership style and fashion in wearing sandals. These
There you go,
beloved
Chris.
Birkenstocks. How much do you think yours are worth? Do you think any of the Drivers Club members will pay money for your
Let me know.
Birkenstocks?
Let me know.
These beloved Birkenstocks were worn by Jobs as he made history in the making. Wonder what, like,
Should we raffle them?
what about his underwear? Steve Jobs' underwear. They were part of the revolution of
That's
Apple.
true. You're right.
They were part of it. The shoes were
So
sold in
dumb.
Julian's auctions. Icons and Idols rock and roll public sale, which featured memorabilia, blah, 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 blah. And last year, Nike Air ships worn by basketball legend Michael Jordan, which makes sense because Jordan's like,
yeah, you're actually performing in that, right?
yeah, but he also had a brand, like the shoe brand, like
You're
Air
right.
Jordans,
Yeah, they're
Nike.
his shoes.
Makes sense. They sold for
These aren't Apple Birkenstocks.
1
I actually, there are also a lot of guys out there I know that like literally collect shoes, right? And,
Right.
And Jordans and stuff like that. And these are limited releases. I'm not sure they're, other than Jake, I'm not sure they're Birkenstock collectors. I mean,
No,
clearly
I-
there is.
There is,
Well-
that guy he probably has like the first prototype iPhone and stuff too. The Jordan sold for $1.47 million, breaking the record for the highest sale price for a pair of sneakers at auction. $200,000.
There you go.
For Birkenstocks.
Not the only one.
You are the only one. There's no
How
question.
upset would you be if you found out it was actually me?
I don't know if that's the word.
That would be
Disappointed?
that would be the end. And just like this is
That would be the
end of this podcast. All right, guys, that's it. We'll see you next week. I have no idea what's going on next
Nice.
week. None whatsoever. I've got it
that's
written
it?
down, but I still.
Oh, do
don't.
you have something?
I have it written down, but I don't remember what it is, which is the story of my life. You'll be happy to know that since you broke your microphone and leaned in closer to the camera, you are massive on the TV screen right now. You are absolutely massive.
Oh, you know what's great though?
What's great though?
I have the one that you just replaced. I have a replacement set to go.
It doesn't have the maybe. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have the thing on it
Why not?
because it doesn't have the thing. It's just the arm. You're screwed. You're gonna have to buy your own by next week. And on that note, that's when we'll see you next. Feder, thanks for coming to hang out.
Thanks for having
really
me.
appreciate you being here
do it
as
again.
Always
always.
fun.
We need
All
to do
right.
it more often.
All right, we'll see you next week, guys.
Take care.